So now that Season Pass 2 is complete, let's go ahead and do a full review and see what each arc had to offer in the Season Pass. Starting off with the first arc, which is the story of Bardock. This has to be the most underrated arc out of all of them. I really enjoyed this arc. I went back and dived into it for a second glance, and it actually really surprised me in many areas. It had a lot to offer that I don't think was really appreciated for what was thrown in there. As far as the exploration, as far as Bardock and his squad, just a completely new cast. I think it was a good follow-up from the Trunks DLC that came before it. Now in this DLC, you get two playable characters. The first character is Bardock and the second character is Prince Vegeta. So whether you wanted the DLC or not, doesn't really matter. It's here. And one thing that I can say that is positive about both of them is that without any additions to the skill tree, these characters fight very, very well or extremely well right out the gate. That is something I did enjoy, was the combat in DLC 4. So on to our next area. You guys know that I'm big on exploring. This is something that I have to say that the Bardock DLC did very well with Planet Vegeta. There were just so many things here, man. If you took your time to just go around and just interact with them or just to sightsee, there was a lot of gems that was dropped in there. And I have videos that speak about those extra things. If you guys are interested, just go to my channel and they're right there. It's called Things We Might Have Missed in the Bardock DLC. So as far as the story goes, you already know how it is when it comes down to retelling the story through the lens of Kakarot. They do an extremely well job at that. And the cutscenes here were just as good as any other cutscenes. You will not be disappointed. And the cutscenes were amazing as well. The sub missions and side stories were a little bit below average, but there was one that always stand out that I have to mention, which is the one about the Ginyu Force. That one was kind of a bit of a shakeup, which was unexpected, but they put that one in here, and I think that it was actually pretty dope. Now shifting over to the second DLC, which is the 23rd World Tournament and Season Pass 2, you also have two playable characters. The first character is a younger Goku, and the second playable character is Tien. I had an overall satisfied experience fighting with both of these characters, but if I had to pick between the two, I would say Goku would give you a better experience, even though I did like using Tien with his Tri-Beam attack. Now, it's hard to speak about fighting without mentioning a new ground mechanic, and that's everything that DLC 5 was built on, was the new ground mechanic that they brought into the game, and that alone is worth the purchase of DLC 5 right there, giving that breath of fresh air to the series of something new as far as a fighting style rather than just improved cutscenes or just more of them. This DLC gave us something that no other one did, and that was a different way to fight. So that alone I can appreciate in the DLC by itself. Now as far as exploring, I wouldn't get my hopes up too high. Goku doesn't fly, he uses Nimbus. I'm not saying that to be like a downer. I get that he couldn't fly during this time period and that was his main way of air transportation, but as far as locations, there wasn't really anything new or changed for that matter. It was more so limited because it's in a pre-Z existence, right? So you're not going to get all those open areas that you had before, but nonetheless, man, the new design of Goku with the red colored gi that popped, especially if you were on the PS5 or the Xbox Series X or a PC or whatever it may be of a high end, those were the good things about exploring in an open environment. But other than that, it really wasn't anything special. As far as story, the story was really good, in my opinion. It was just extremely short. Now, I've never seen this Dragon Ball series or arc, so me playing it was actually the first time, and it was pretty good. It was just extremely short, and that was something that I didn't like about it. But as far as cutscenes, it gives you that Kakarot deliverance, which you're going to be satisfied. That's not a problem. Pertaining to side missions, this is another one where they were really garbage. They were really bad. Nothing really exciting, nothing to really hold your interest or give you any type of replay value. That's kind of where it dies for me. Now on to our last and final DLC. Now I gotta be honest, this has to be the most disappointing DLC out of the entire season pass. This one was a big letdown. Goku's Next Journey. So let's just go ahead and get this out of the way. The only thing that really saved this DLC was A Tale of Two Saiyans, which was the final battle between Goku and Vegeta. If they removed that from this DLC, it would be a complete waste of time. Now, I will say there are a couple of positive things that were takeaways from the game that were not DLC locked, which means you can take it back to the main game with you, which was 2 moves from Goku, which would be Dragon Flash and Transcending Kamehameha. Those are 2 pretty good moves. I love the fact that you get to charge up the Kamehameha before releasing it. I think that that's dope. And Dragon Flash is sort of like an instant transmission behind an opponent. That's cool. But as far as cutscenes, off the top of my head, there were 3 that really stood out, or mainly 2, right? It was the one that they had where Goku and Oob got serious during the World Tournament, and the one where Goku and Vegeta were basically powering up. Or, now that I'm thinking about it, the one where they had their beam struggle where it was Kamehameha versus Gallic Gun, and then it turned into Kamehameha versus Final Flash as a finisher. The theme that these DLCs seem to all have in common, especially when it comes to playable characters, is that you're only permitted 2. So in this DLC, you have 2 playable characters as well, which is End of Z Goku, and the other one is Pan. Now, Pan isn't anything to brag about. She was not pleasurable or enjoyable to play with. She was just there. Now, I get it that the arc was really centered around her for most of it, apart from Oob, but we really didn't need her as a playable character. You could have gave us Oob or Vegeta. You could have gave us someone else besides Pan. Now, going back to End of Z Goku. Playing with End of Z Goku was supposed to be the be-all, end-all of Gokus, right? Apart from the GT Goku, which we haven't got yet. But we expected so much more from him, and playing with him, you just didn't get it. He seemed like a recycled Goku, which is another video that I made about him in DLC 6 as well. This was something that added and contributed to DLC 6 being such a disappointment. Now, continuing down that ladder, exploring was just average, right? It wasn't great. I did really enjoy playing on the PS5, like I say, with the pop colors and things of that sort, to go around and just check out this DLC, but it didn't really offer anything different. It was kind of like the basic exploration that you would get from the main story. Of course, there were certain modifications and things that changed, like characters' appearances because they got older, but as far as the structure and the landmarks and layout, all of those things were the same, and that was disappointing as well. Something I really had high hopes for, but it was just a complete letdown. Now, going over the side missions, these were actually pretty balanced, right? This is probably the best side missions that you're going to get next to the second DLC arc, which is the Golden Frieza arc. I think it was pretty well laid out, right? It wasn't the best, but it wasn't the worst either. So at least you can expect some kind of decency when it comes down to those. Now, to wrap things up and do a brief recap, in Season Pass 2, you get 6 playable characters, 23 sub-stories, 2 moves from Goku that you can take back to the main game. Apart from the original story, you get 2 additional stories, which one is Prince Vegeta for DLC 4 and a Saga of Two Saiyans for DLC 6. You get new battleground mechanics for DLC 5 and for DLC 6. And lastly, you get a new event for each DLC. Bardock offers an Annihilation event, and the 23rd Budokai offers Patrol events, which are both just horde battles in a different setting and style, right? And in the 6th DLC, you get memorial spots, which is where you find photographs, and if the photographs are memories of earlier stages of Dragon Ball Z and they're red, you get to actually engage in those battles. So these are things that are offered in Season Pass 2 as a whole. So this is a totality of it. So at this point, it's only one question left to ask yourself. Is Season Pass 2 worth it? And when you think about it, right, they're asking $40 for the entire Season Pass. But if you break that down, that's only $13.33 for each DLC. And with that price, it's not bad, right, for all the things that they're offering as a whole. Now, if you're looking to get the DLC just to go through the story modes and the cutscenes and things of that sort, don't waste your money. It's not worth it at all. But if you're the kind of person who likes to explore and you're a completionist and you like to get 100%, like doing all the side missions and things of that sort, seeing what each area has to offer and all the nits and crannies and the perimeter, seeing what's there, then absolutely. It will add a few hours extra of gameplay and time to the already enjoyable experience you've already had with the main game and Season Pass 1. So as always, man, in the comment section down below, let me know if you guys are considering getting a Season Pass. Did you buy the Season Pass? Would you have preferred just to buy them individually for the ones you really wanted? What was your overall takeaway from Season Pass 2? And I appreciate you guys checking out the video. And with that being said, I'm out.